Hello and welcome to the bipolar assessment. This quiz was originally made in Flash, but a lot of people with iPhones and such can't really access Flash. So I went ahead and made a video of this. So all you have to do is get a pen and paper and hand score this. And when we get to the end, you will see your results. So this was originally developed based on a assessment from the Depression and Bipolar Support Alliance, but this is much more interesting and fun. Well, so let's answer the question for yourself. Are you bipolar? This quiz will help you determine if all those people who think you're bipolar are onto something, or if they're the ones with the problem. It's not meant to replace the advice or care of a mental health professional. It's just a tool to help you get a wake-up call. Either way. So, let's start off with question 1 then. Have you ever felt so good or hyper that other people thought you were just not your normal self, or you were so hyper that it got you into trouble? I mean, not just a little bit of trouble like your teacher told you to be quiet in school. I mean something bigger like being arrested or being asked to leave Disneyland or something. So we're just going to go with the yes answers on these. So if you said, yeah, that happened to me at least once. Well, if you're looking to be bipolar, that's right. You selected the correct response. Bipolar people do stuff like that all the time. Question 2. Have you ever been so irritable that you shouted at people or started fights or arguments? I know we all get mad, but I'm talking about things like road rage or yelling at people who probably don't deserve it just because you're in a really bad mood. So if you answered, sure, doesn't everyone do this sometimes? Well, that's right. If you want to be bipolar, you selected the correct response for a bipolar person. Question 3. Have you ever felt much more self-confident than usual? I mean, it's all relative here, though. Like, are you a really shy person who started asking a bunch of people out on dates? Did you ask your boss for a raise that you didn't deserve? Perhaps it was your first week on the job. Are you one of those people who try out for American Idol even though you can't sing, but perhaps you thought you could at the time? So if you answered, sure, been there, done that. Well, that's right. Manic people are king of the world if you're looking to be bipolar. Question 4. Have you ever survived on much less sleep than usual and found you really didn't miss it? Not just one night or something wimpy like that, but I'm talking about days on end, perhaps weeks. Now, this doesn't count if you were on drugs or had to drink 50 pots of coffee in order to be this way. Oh yeah, I could tell you some stories. Well, that's right. If you answered yes, manic people can go forever without sleep. Well, that is until they crash. Was there a time when you were much more talkative or spoke much faster than usual? Now, if you talk fast already, it doesn't count. The exception would be if you talk fast already and started talking extra super fast. So if you can say, yeah, I was like a chatty Cathy doll, nobody could shut me up. Well, that is the answer that a bipolar person might answer. Question 6. Can you remember when thoughts raced through your head or you couldn't slow your mind down? I mean, like your mind was like a roller coaster, jet plane, speed skater, rocket ship. Well, you get the point. Again, it doesn't count if drugs made you do this. So if you can say, hey, I must admit this is true. Way to go. Question 7. Was there a time when you were so easily distracted by things around you that you had trouble concentrating or staying on track? No matter how hard you tried, nothing worked. Maybe you even started thinking you had attention deficit disorder or something. So can you say, oh yeah, that happened to me for sure? Well, you chose the bipolar answer, although people with ADD might answer this way too. Question 8. Can you remember a time when you had much more energy than usual? I mean, you were like, go, go, go. You just kept running around all day and had energy for more. Everyone around you was tired, but not you. You felt like you had extra batteries that nobody else had. Now, you can't count this one if you're always like this, but just sometimes. So, can you say, yes, 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 I have been like this before? If so, well, that's right. You may have bipolar disorder after all. Question 9. Remember when you were much more active or did many more things than usual? Like you joined a social club, dug an underground sprinkler system in your yard, maybe even in the winter. Or you painted your entire house and wrote a book, all in the same week? Okay, maybe not that extreme, but you get the point. So can you say, hey, I've been the master of activity, and you have been like that? Well, that's very manic of you. Question 10. Can you tell me about a time you were much more social or outgoing than usual? For example, you telephone friends in the middle of the night. Now, it doesn't count if you were drunk or if you knew that they were already awake. I mean, like calling them up out of the blue at 2 o'clock in the morning. Can you say, oh, so very true? Well, way to act manic. Question 11. Was there a time when you were much more interested in sex than usual? Now, I know most men are interested in sex all the time, but think hard. Was there a time when you were even more interested? So, can you say without a doubt? Well, this may mean bipolar, but it also could mean a million other things, but we're not going to get into those. Besides when you were a typical teenager, did you ever do things that were unusual for you, or that other people might thought, things that were excessive, foolish, or risky? Like, if you did something that got you arrested, it was probably an unwise thing to do. So, think about your foolish stuff. Can you think of those things? Well, you can say, yep, color me foolish. Are you scaring yourself yet? Question 13. Has your spending money gotten you or your family in trouble? I mean, do people have to hide the credit cards when you come around? You can say, oh yeah, that's me. Way to break the bank. Question 14. Now, if you answered yes to more than one of the last questions that I've asked, have several of these ever happened during the same time period? Did you go for weeks without sleep while spending all your money and getting kicked out of Disneyland? Stuff like that. So if you can say, hey, sure, a bunch of this stuff happened all at the same time. Well, that's right. Manic behaviors go together like peas and carrots and peas and broccoli and cheese and all that good stuff. The more, the better. Last question. How much of a problem did any of these problems that we've gone over the last questions cause for you? I mean, has this been so bad you weren't able to work? You were having family, money, or legal problems, getting into arguments or fights? Has the stuff you have done really messed up your life? Did it take forever to pick up the pieces? Are you still picking up the pieces? So if you can say, yeah, it's really been a problem for me. Well, bipolar people often struggle with the mistakes they make. So let's view the results of if you said yes to everything. So in this particular case, if you answered yes, your result would be, congratulations, you passed. Well, if you're looking for bipolar, that's a pass. Results like this indicate the possibility of bipolar disorder. So let's think about your score. Look at your score, and if you answered yes to 6 or more of these questions, then it is possible that you have bipolar disorder. Now, of course, I would recommend that you print a copy of your results, but since you don't have the results to print, this is something that you should really look into, see a mental health professional, talk to somebody about what's going on with you. So once again, yes to 6 or more, that's possible. If you have less than 6, chances are you probably don't have bipolar disorder, but it's still very possible. This quiz is not meant to diagnose anything. It's just for your edification and for your entertainment. So thank you so much for your time, and have a wonderful day.